that happened that I became a host.
Yeah, recording in progress, ready to go.
Yeah.
Welcome, West.
Yay.
We're ready to go. Cool. My name is Veronica, or just Nika, if you prefer. And I'm a communication coordinator, as Alex called me. And here's what we are gonna talk about today. We are gonna talk about the first, you should be able to see my screen now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. So yeah, I put up a little presentation for you, just to be more visible. So here's what we're gonna talk about today. First of all, of course, we're gonna talk about, you know, the geography of West. What have we done, and how many organizations we've joined together, and where they all are. So like a little bit of numbers and statistics. Next, we're going to talk about our first official event, War Ukraine Text 2.0, that happened on 25th, 26th of June, not July. Yeah, then I'm going to give the floor to Alex, and he's going to talk about, you know, what is West really, like why are we here? Why are we here today, and what we're going to do for the future. So we'll talk about our future plans for this summer, this PRO.ACT Fest, and this appliance reading with the Theaters of War. And then we're gonna have little discussions about future possible international projects between not only Pro-English Theater, but between all of you guys. So we're gonna split you up into small rooms, and you're gonna have a chance to talk more. And we're gonna make you make a little presentation of a, I don't know, project. So yeah, nobody will be left unspoken. You know, we will make everybody speak. So let's talk about. Oh, Annabelle, hi. So yeah. In the first months of West, we were able to join 25 members from 11 countries. So that's obviously Ukraine, the USA, United Kingdom, Australia, Portugal, India, Nigeria, Greece, the Netherlands, and France. And now I'm gonna just quickly go through all the guys that we have today here and that we have at all. So we've got, of course, Pro-English Theater and English-speaking actors in Ukraine, led by Alex. Pro-English Drama School, Annabelle Ramirez here. PRO.ACT Fest, Natalia Ponomaryova. GMTC Theater, that's Suzanne and Bob here. Yeah, Animalos Co, that's, I guess, yeah, the Catherine is not here yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leimei, yeah, by Jimena. Yeah, 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 Leimei. From New York, the Oroville Theater Group, that's Jill here. Baron's Court Theater, Scene Saver, that's Carolyn. Bad Hoist Theater from Netherlands, the Azulum Theater, Voices Festival Productions, Zari, yeah. Suresh, correct me if I'm wrong. Ja National Theater or Ja?
It's a French J. It's Ja.
Ja. Okay. Cool, cool. And a little more. So we've got 3 more theaters from United Kingdom: Finborough Theater, Stepping Out Theater, Intent New Theater. We've got 1 more magazine, Arts Fuse magazine from USA. We've got actually 2 theater companies from Australia, but it's like, I guess, 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. In Australia now, so they couldn't join, I guess. That's Yokohama Theater Group, that's John Friedman and Worldwide Ukrainian Play Readings. and the known Pan Theatre Company from India as well, the Aroja Royal Theatre, and Theatre Garonne from France. So thank you, everyone. Oh, I see Catherine and Sarah joined, and Jerry. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
So yeah, so that's about it. 25 theaters from 11 countries all around the world, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, and in Ukraine, in America. So that's about it. And there's more to come. I've actually spoken to three more theaters today that are willing to join. And they're like asking about us. So yeah, there's more and more to come. Okay, so moving on to War Ukraine Text 2.0. What was it? What happened where? Yeah. So Julie wanted to say something? No?
No, I mean, these are the actors that I worked with, that's all.
Yeah. So Jill was one of the directors who worked with our team, our cast, so it was Ukrainian plays, stage readings of contemporary Ukrainian artists, playwrights, translated into English. It was streamed, I don't know, on all various platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, around the world. And so that's how it was. So there are some pictures and some, quotes, what people said about it, that, all the ideas are usually under the surface, but when you put them in the mouths of some magical creatures, it becomes even more understandable, like a story, in that way that you can process the sense and feeling of it. And it was, for all of us, it was all very important, because we want to be heard. We want the world to know about the Ukraine and what's happening here. And not only what's happening here now, but what's been happening for, for last, 3 centuries, the history of Ukraine, and the Russian repression of Ukraine. So we've actually had 6 plays, but 7 performances. So we had 7 directors from all over the world, again, from Australia, from India, from the USA, from Germany. And we had around 15 Ukrainian actors who worked in pro-English theater there in our art shelter, despite everything, despite the bombing, despite the air raid alerts. We've come to the rehearsals, and the directors actually worked via Zoom, but the staff was, the actors were in the theater, and that's me there. I also took part in 2 of the performances. Yeah. And we had, I guess, even more than 2,000 people watching worldwide this event in 2 days. Well, first day was a little bit less because we streamed through YouTube, but not through Facebook. But more than 2,000 people were watching this event, and I think that's pretty impressive. And I hope in the future we will get more. Yeah, cool. So yeah, and afterwards we had discussions with all the directors, actors, and playwrights about why we're doing this and what for. So, and that's a quote, another one. Sometimes in order to build something new, you need to break the old, and that's what was happening there. And it was all kind of therapy, for the people who didn't know about Ukraine, they learned something new, and hopefully they will help us in the future. And for us who were performing and doing this, it was kind of a healing experience and, living through these, things again. So that's about it. And I don't know if I'm to talk about my personal impressions from this readings, I'd say that I'm very grateful that Alex, came up with this idea and like did this and invited me to do this, to join. And I hope that, that's not gonna go in vain and wasted. Yeah. So thank you. I think on that note, I'm gonna pass the floor to Alex. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Alex is gonna continue talking about what he wanted to talk about.
Yeah, can you see me? Because I cannot see me. My screen has disappeared.
No, we can see you.
Excellent. I don't see myself. That's really cool. Okay, so continuing with what Veronica or Nika was saying, we're gonna continue with this event. West is not only about one-timers, that we conduct and then it's gone and bring us these feelings. We all about sustainable projects that will continue after they are done. So for example, right now with this stage reads of War Ukraine texts, we're gonna upload the much better quality videos of these into YouTube. And it's currently in the process. It's gonna be done within a day or two. So then in YouTube, it's forever. And we're gonna set up each stage read separately. So people can watch Jill's works, Suresh works, Veronica on stage separately. And YouTube is pretty much like forever. Then Suresh and Madeline right now, they are writing articles, the big articles that we suggest and we negotiate these articles to be published in Theatre Times and bigger theatrical, magazines. So we want the dialogue to start. The event for us is just an idea to start talking to different theatrical communities about social issues, artistic issues, and so on and so forth. That's what's gonna happen with these projects. And probably some of these stage reads will grow into the performance, which is eventually the idea of every theater, of every country, irrespective of the language, to create performance. With this, I'm coming up to how the West actually originated. Those of you guys who didn't know PRO English Theater, we are in Kiev. We are the small independent English-speaking theater of Ukraine. We actually, because we're the small independent theater, we're located in a basement. And this is where we lived in March and end of February because Kiev was heavily attacked by Russian troops. And the whole theater lived here. Cats lived here. Old people lived here. We lived here as the bomb shelter. And we kept continued creating art. But what surprised me is the amount of international support and attention to our little independent theater. From day one, many theater makers started writing to us. How are you guys doing? What's the situation in Ukraine? We want to support you, and so on and so forth. Our Patreon account grew like tremendously. We established several important partners within the first week while we were attacked. So when Ukrainian troops moved Russians away from Kiev, I was thinking, why? Why did different theaters started contacting us so much? And my answer is that because we are the theater in English. There are many more theaters in Ukraine. In Kiev alone, there is around 100 theaters, 15 state theaters, and the rest are independent. 100. We were the only one who got that much attention. We gave about 60 or 70 interviews during this invasion period on Kiev, again, because we were the English-speaking theater. Hence, the idea of West, World of English-speaking theaters. It doesn't mean that we put English as our, main thing. No, it means that we see this language, which is already international, as the tool, as the helper that helps us understand each other better, that helps us put the theater that will be universally, internationally understandable. And hence, we are all here, all of us right now, these wonderful faces that I see in Zoom, we all speak English. So that's why it was the world of English speaking theaters. Then again, talking about the world, it is started in Kiev. Our association has started in Kiev, originated in Kiev, but it doesn't mean that we do this association only to support Ukraine. No, not at all. Our idea and my biggest aspiration is to put art against oppression, is to make art an active social agent, is to, for us all, to create something that can change the world. Okay, that's how I said it. So hence the world of English speaking theaters. And my biggest dream, honestly, would be that next year, the center of West is not in Kiev. For two reasons, because Ukraine will win this war and we are not the most oppressed country in the world anymore. And the second, because we're all about transition and cooperation. This is, my idea that the theater can go to a different country, the West can go to a different country and change situation there with the help of us. And again, world of English speaking theaters doesn't mean that we are theaters only. My idea is to create a grassroots organization that unites theaters from different countries, theatrical organizations, drama schools, departments, drama departments of universities, magazines, art bloggers, theater bloggers, journalists, and so on and so forth, everybody connected with theater. And with this, again, grassroots organization, we are able to create many more opportunities per se. Basically, that's it. Do you have questions so far on the organizational part and all about the aspirational part? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, I'll continue then. All right, so there was a question? No, okay. About the things that we're gonna do right away. I don't have a fancy presentation like Veronica does. Too bad, I'm not communication manager. I'm more about talking. So what we're gonna have in the nearest future. July 16, there is a big event that we were happy to help organize in the beginning. There is the big stage reading of a Greek tragedy. It's a Greek tragedy written by Aeschylus, and it's called The Suppliants. And it was originated by the Theater of War in New York that are somehow strangely still not a part of our organization, but they will be one day, I'm sure. So anyhow, they read Greek tragedies with the stars. And by stars, I mean the guys of caliber, William Defoe and Arnold Schwarzenegger and other famous prominent actors. So anyhow, they're gonna do this reading with Ukrainian actors. And we were very happy to jump in the early stage and help with organization from the Ukrainian side. And this is the event that's gonna take place on the 16th. I guess I will write it down in our chat, but as far as I remember, it's 8 p.m. Kiev time, and it's somewhere there, New York time. I don't remember. I will write it down. It's a big deal that involves the discussion. It's always the point, not just the theater, but the theater with communication. So there will be the stage readings of this Greek play, and after this, there will be discussion with Ukrainians, with actual witnesses of the war, and every Ukrainian is a witness of the war right now, I believe. So there will be this discussion that allows us to look at the idea of a tragedy, at the idea of the war, at the idea of oppression, and at the idea of a woman, because the whole play is about women. So that's the thing that we're happy to organize as West, and it's our big deal. Second thing, and second big event that we're gonna do is in the end of August, we are putting together PRO.ACT Fest. And PRO.ACT Fest is the fifth annual festival that's conducted in Kiev, and it's English-speaking theaters. And we thought that we shouldn't do the festival this year because, of the situation. But then I said, hell no. What are we fighting for then? If there is no festival that, again, unites different theaters. So we're going to do this festival for a week. And it starts on as far as I remember, the 13th of August. And it starts with international part. And I ask you to listen closely here because you all can be part of the West, of the PRO.ACT Fest. You are part of the West already. So international part of this festival means that you can perform a performance in your native town, in your city, in your country, but within PRO.ACT Fest. It becomes a part of the festival if you select it, and it's performed there in support of art and in support of Ukraine. That's part one, that's international. Second part, you can submit your recording of your performance into the online section of the festival. And it's that simple. You send a quality recording, we put you up, then we stream it, there is a discussion, and people can see your art worldwide. That's the second part of PRO.ACT Fest. And the third one, for the bravest, you actually can come and take part in festival in Kiev. And this is the 22nd, 23rd of August. Well, the weekend. And some of the artists already have. I've seen Bono in Kiev, I guess, recently. And I've seen Angelina Jolie, the photo of her in Lviv. Anyhow, so this festival is again supported by West, and this is what we do, because again, right now, Ukraine is in the focus. So all of our events are connected somehow with Ukraine. That's our nearest one. And I'm hoping to have the third event this year. And I'm hoping that this event is not connected with Ukraine anyhow. For two reasons again, because I hope that the aggression is shifted from Ukraine. And then I do think that West is not only about Ukraine, like I said, it's about art that can change. All right? Questions so far, suggestions? No? Okay. You have a question?
I was just going to say that obviously I'm happy to have all of this on Scene Saver, because Scene Saver, for those of you that don't know, we're a streaming site that makes little theatre big. So we have shows from off West End, off Broadway, from companies all over the world, and we have thousands of users. It's a free site. I believe that theatre should be accessible and it shouldn't be about money. And if you're in London, you're not seeing what's going on in the rest of the world. So we are happy to host all of it on Scene Saver to get the word out to our thousands of users. And for all of you, if you have work, current or past, we are more than happy to look at it with a view to streaming it so that we can help you spread the word.
Carolyn, this is just great. And I'm so happy, I guess, since Sarah joined like yesterday or a couple of days ago.
Yes, well, Veronica contacted me.
Yes.
And I said, tell me a bit about you, because we have Ukrainian work. We have subtitle work. We're partnered with the Fimbra Theatre. So we're doing our best. Although the site is free, we say to people, if you can afford it, buy a virtual ticket, and all the money goes to the theatre company. We give you all the money. So that will hopefully help people. So with pleasure, whatever you have, we can hopefully show it on Scene Saver and get it out to much bigger audiences.
Excellent. Could you, well, after we finish our meeting, could you write or send us the description into the chat of our West Association? Because I believe every theater can benefit from this, irrespective, Ukraine, not Ukraine, and all of the guys they produce in English. I'd love all of the West members to be in Scene Saver. Well, I'm sending you tonight. I'm sending you what we have as Spring Theater tonight.
Yes, okay. Well, hopefully we'll get it up pretty quickly. And we do all languages, but we also, I have a subtitler who can subtitle, for example, Ukrainian work in English. So, but there's a slight charge for that, but everything else we can do. So if you have subtitles, then obviously that's even better. And it also gets out, we're linked with organizations for deaf theatre lovers. So it means they can also see the work. So anything that is audio described or that also is a great advantage, because obviously it's bigger audiences. Perfect. But I will send out details.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and with this, we come into the next thing about the grassroots initiatives. Yes, Stefan, you wanted to say?
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, just one question. I'm Stefan from Toulouse in France. I'm just wondering, beyond the streaming of works online, how do you imagine the because you were talking about discussions and communicating, and I think that's really like the crucial point. Do you have any idea of how to organize, how audiences from one country, from one place, can, you know, get into, can interact in a way with other audiences across the world? Like did you have any idea of, I don't know. I don't have any idea, so I'm just asking.
I believe, Stefan, that we can do something that we did with your theater. Remember when for English
Yeah.
theater sent our Harold Pinter, I believe that was, we sent
right.
it as a recording, and you guys showed it on a big screen in your theater, and then there was a discussion with your audience, with us
Mm.
being presented as live artists, but then they just saw the recorded video of the
Yeah.
theater. That's one of the things, and I believe we can come up with many more. Scene Saver is one of the ways, with live discussion with living people afterwards via Zoom, possible, probable. Festivals also a big way, because we can actually go and travel.
Yeah. Just to give some feedback about what happened here when we did that with like a you know, a live crowd, like in the room here. Afterwards, you know, we had this Zoom thing between the audience here and you guys. And afterwards, you can't know that, but we had like lots of discussions, you know, in the theater with the people who were there. So it kind of kept flowing in a way. And it was super interesting to have all those people, not only online, you know, like not everyone on Zoom, but like a live audience. And then they can interact, and then they can discuss the thing, and we could discuss the thing with them. And that was super interesting to have this aspect of, you know, what theater is supposed to be. Live interactions in real, not just online. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes, Sarah. Yes, please.
Greetings from Las Vegas, everyone. I'm from the Asylum Theater in Las Vegas. And I just wanted to chime in on that question about audience interacting together, because we also partner with the Out of the Wings Festival in London. I believe they're having their in-person festival in this month. And they do translation, English and Spanish is sort of the translation community they focus on, although the translators in their group also do other languages. And we did an audience feedback conversation with Catherine in London with a performance we did here in Las Vegas last year. And it actually worked rather well that our audience was able to communicate with her. We projected her on the big psych. So she looked rather ominous and godly. And our audience was able to talk to her with our moderator just sort of through the laptop and a Bluetooth speaker. And honestly, we figured it out rather simply, but it worked rather well. And I could imagine a situation where rather than just having Catherine on the other end, it was another audience like ours, but in England or something. The time zone thing is the issue when it comes to that. But
I remember.
I think you could actually do, if people were patient with it and it was a little rustic, even on a low budget sense, you could have a thing where audiences are actually asking questions live in each other's presence. So that could be a cool thing to try if your time zones work.
We have tried that and it can work. It obviously has to have somebody good moderating it, because otherwise you just get a load of noise. And but if using Zoom properly and having someone control it, for want of a better word, we've been able to have people all over the world. And we've actually done it also for R&D sessions when performers have got a new work and they just want to try it out. Then we've done it like that, and then everybody, so it does work, and you do get the energy with people able to have their input. So that's something that can be done by live streaming. And as Sarah says, the only thing is the time zone issue. But you know, if people love theatre, that they're prepared to compromise and get up a bit early or get to bed late. So normally we've managed to sort of get around that. But you're right, that's something that works really well. And it's also good for the company because it's less sterile. And then you can keep it up so people who missed it can see it afterwards.
Yeah, and I remember when we did the stage reads, that's one we spoke about in the beginning, one of the directors, Rick, I guess, he went to the rehearsals 3 o'clock in the morning because of time zones, but he did it because for love of the theater. And we used to wake up for Sarah. She, like when we did this little gig for Asylum Theater, we have to come to our theater at 5 o'clock in the morning to perform Viva Las Vegas. I guess that was a very good song, I think. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, anybody else? Yeah.
Catherine, I guess, has a question.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
it was just in support of that. It's very doable I think if you do it in relatively small groups, so you can use breakout rooms for this, for instance, to put people across different regions in conversation with each other. I've done it with student groups in different locales. So I wanted to support that. I also wanted to raise the question about time zones. Now, I raise it tentatively because you guys have enough things going on to not have to worry about other people's time zones. But down the road, I'm wondering whether this is something that can be factored in. We did with our company, everybody, I'm calling in from New York. We're Anomalous Co. Jeremy Gorin is also with us, Diana. We had done an online festival where we had 2 live showings a day. And so we aimed one kind of loosely toward a European time zone where I think, on the latest end, it started at 9 o'clock. On the earliest end, it started at something like 7 p.m. And that was a morning show for us here. And then we had an evening show. And this really came down to actor participation, whether people were willing to stay up late to do a live component or whether we only did the pre-recorded components at those hours. But we kept trying to do the twice a day model so that we could hit as many countries as possible. So it seems like something to hold in mind for future. It's not, under the right circumstances, it's doable.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then it's time to, because you see that many issues coming up just because getting us together. So right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna spend the next 9 minutes in separate rooms. Then Zoom has this opportunity to spread into separate rooms, and I'm gonna assign randomly 3 different participants into each room. And you will have 9 minutes to get to know each other better, much better. Because after 9 minutes, we're all coming back here, and I will ask you to present your partner theater, the person you speak to in a Zoom. There will be 3 participants, so each one presents each one with one-liner. One-liner, I mean 1 sentence. You say something that would make me want to come to that theater of yours that you present. Something that explains why that theater is the best in the world. One-liner. That's the first thing. And the second thing, during this 9 minutes, I will ask you, and it's a quick thing, to discuss opportunities for collaboration between your theaters, not for the whole of the West, not for Ukraine, for your theaters, for the people you will meet right now in our Zoom chat, in this small rooms. Yeah. So 9 minutes, 3 participants, and one-liner about the partner theater and opportunities for collaboration. Then we all come back here and present real quick. Can we do that? Yeah? Okay. Questions? All right, let's try. I love this stuff.
Alex?
Yes, please.
What about people who are not representative of theaters?
How do you mean?
Like Scene Saver, for instance, Caroline.
We'll put Caroline into I think Caroline is a representative. So, I mean, collaboration with Scene Saver is very clear. I believe this is something to discuss. It's irrespective, theater or not. Or what do you mean?
Like not everyone in this group is representative of theaters.
Yes, but cooperation and collaboration can be on many different levels. We're not talking about, putting a performance together. It can be many different things. It's just connected with theater. Let's see. Let's put it up and see what happens. So 9 minutes, 3 people in each group, and it starts right now. А сколько мне надо? You help me? Вот это 3. This one is 3. Сколько?
Alex, are you gonna put me in one of the rooms? Why?
Not with me, for sure. Okay, it's on. We're starting. Kıdış. Kıdış. Yes, you need to accept it in your Zoom settings right now, and then you will be assigned to a room.
Oh. Oh, I think that's better. Maybe ask Annabelle about that.
Oh, are you Annabelle Ramirez?
Yes.
Annabelle, I'm very honored to meet you. I spent a lot of time talking with Alina the other day. This is Diana, co-artistic director of Anomalous Co., third co-artistic director, Jeremy's in another room. I spent a lot of time talking with Alina the other day about your project. I gave a couple of talks recently in academic settings, and so I was within kind of larger questions of collective resistance in theater making. I was foregrounding pro-English theater's work, but I was specifically foregrounding the women's work. So it's lovely to meet you.
It's same. Alina also told me a lot, and it's very curious and interesting for me if you share a little bit like more profoundly about your work, because she told me more like, personal impressions of talking to you. So,
I hope they were okay.
yes, awesome.
So I was just, Veronica, I was asking you what you're working on, what you're leading, and you immediately, deferred, but tell me a little bit more about you.
Well, I'm like, I personally don't have any, like acting productions. I'm just like administrator, I don't know, communication coordinator, project manager, and like, yeah, so I'm helping the guys, the Alex, with, administrating and stuff. And so this month we are gonna have, I guess, 3 new performances, Annabelle, is it right? Yeah, in July. So we're gonna have two and a half. Yeah. Yeah, so it's Bloom in Violence, the one where the girls are, the Alina and Annabelle. Annabelle, you directed this. Yeah, so, and Annabelle and Jasmina are the actresses there, and the other one is directed by Alex, I guess. Yes, the Katie and Frank musical. That's I guess the first musical of Pro English theater. Yeah, so I don't know. Have nothing to do with to tell you the truth. Yeah, that's all I can say. That's what's happening. We're also having these raw workshops, relief acting workshops every week. Yeah, for adults and for teenagers and kids every week. So
do you have different sessions for the teenagers?
Yeah. So it's like one session for teenagers and the other one for adults. It's different coaches every week, different techniques, different, approaches, and they're all, aimed towards, relief, emotional relief and improving of the well-being of, people in Ukraine.
Yes. Have you started, Annabelle, have you started planning out how you're going to incorporate that work into Bloom in Violence yet? We talked about it a little bit with Alina, and it seemed like it was kind of in process discussion.
Yeah, for now we're looking for the possibilities to travel with the show and together with workshops. So it kind of goes together because the point of a show, I guess Alina told you, yeah, is to
Yes.
give women instruments as we see them right now, as we found them, to kind of um, go out and go out of trauma, but I guess it's very hardly possible to do only with one show, but at least to show that there is a way, there is a possibility that trauma doesn't define you all your life, and that you don't have to all the time, like, give all your power to it, but to find other ways to actually live and create and so on. So this goes absolutely together with our raw workshops. It's just raw is more about everyone, like everyone who comes, whatever age and gender and social background, but the performance is dedicated more to women.
Wonderful.
So for now, we're searching the possibilities to move a little bit with it, because I guess what is also very important for us is that it's not only about Ukraine in this situation. It's like, I guess it's not the point for me to tell about this. We all know that this violence happens all over the places, and we concentrate on war violence, but the show doesn't speak directly about the war, so it speaks about trauma, it speaks about
Position of
violence.
women in trauma and sexual violence.
Yes.
And domestic violence.
Yes, exactly. So it has a lot of wider context, which also matters for me and important. It is important because it's common society problem, not only ours. So yeah, so for now we're all fully concentrated on the premiere, on the show itself, which will happen 23rd. And after this, we will understand how it goes next.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a wonderful piece of work.
You?
Catherine, yeah, tell us more about you.
You want me to do it? Okay. So since we have very little time, I'll just say a few quick things. So kind of some background. Anomalous Co. is a interdisciplinary, international, multilingual company. We are primarily, but not exclusively, we have Jeremy, a queer women-led company. We have a very strong commitment to collective process and to kind of distributed decision-making models. A very strong commitment to foregrounding minoritarian voices here and abroad. I've been working for years. I'm primarily a director. I also teach. I'm a theater historian as well, and a writer. I have a long history of working across borders in a variety of ways, and also working with Zoom in a variety of ways, as does Diana. We've done a number of international projects that involve Zoom, including one that Diana headed up, which was called Beckett in the Virtual, which we did in the spring of last year. During the pandemic, was a big Beckett project that continues to kind of tour around in its virtual form. We have a couple of big projects right now that I wanted to mention in order to segue into the discussion of collaborative possibilities. One is, and this I don't know sort of how we would get ourselves all together, but I think it's something to think about. So we have a project that we began at the beginning of the war, which is called Beyond Wednesday Scrolling. And it initially started out specifically as a Ukrainian-focused work of performance. You could call it no, well, I wasn't, yes, it was that, but I wasn't going to say that right away. I was going to say, you could call it epic political theater. We did it as a fundraiser initially through the first two iterations, and then there were all these spin-off iterations. And because it was still the beginning of the war, we raised, between internal fundraising within the group and through tickets, $12,500 over the course of 2 iterations. It was a big deal, and that was, I mean, for us, we're a small company, you know, in the second iteration was the first time that we knew about the work of you guys. We didn't raise like the lion's share of the money we raised in the first iteration, but we were able to send some money to Pro-English as one of the groups that we supported. As we moved into the second iteration and as we move forward, the issues of the play started coming more sharply into focus. And this is a work that we see as continually responding to the broader landscape of war and displacement. That's the big focus. And foregrounding female voice is a major focus in the show. And we're concerned with women's voices, obviously, not just as victims, but as key stakeholders, as actors within the landscape of war, as resistors, as storytellers, as philosophers. And in moving forward with the project, we became interested in the question of how we could continue to center what is happening currently in Ukraine, the invasion, and at the same time broaden the text and broaden the range of performers involved so that we have more international voices. And we're dealing particularly with those areas of the world where the actions of the United States have created egregious military zones, where we have been the invaders and the abandoners. You know,
Catherine, sorry, Alex is giving me the time. Because I think that we have so many things to talk about. What do you
I think we have a lot of things to talk about. Could we just kind of table it and say let's have a talk? Because there's another project too I want to talk to you about, and it's in relationship, and it's much more short-term, small stuff that you guys can do, and it's in relationship to the.
What if I call you separately and we just have a different?
Yes,
talk?
Please, because I'm so excited about what you guys are doing,
Yeah,
and we're really moved. We're so moved by what you're doing.
It's very, I don't know, I guess very important to really maintain a big normal conversation without this time.
Yeah.
Now I'm closing the windows for everyone.
Yes,
We can
absolutely.
back to general. And thank you so much, and I will text you and say
Thank you so much.
Что делать? А выйти из сессионного зала? No? Что? What? Okay. But I can do it myself, right?
Yeah.
With connection. Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we are waiting for the rest.
I know. It was unstoppable. I mean, like, I've seen some of the talks, and yeah, it was, yeah.
Unstoppable today.
Alex, thank you. I guess that was random, but you put us in the room with the people I most wanted to talk to first off. So thanks.
It was random.
Annabelle, who I've really been wanting to meet. And I got to get to know a little tiny bit about Veronica, who kept deferring to Annabelle. So that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay, everybody's back. It was automatically, and it was 4 minutes, I guess, past what we planned to. I tried to stop these rooms, but people were saying, no. So, and I knew it's gonna happen like this.